forward. So, but Theo Pinson, I mean, as soon as I seen it, we were on here before he hit live, and I was like, Theo, because Theo's
It's a steal.
a steal. No, Theo was he was a Carolina guy, played on the UNC national team, won the Natty with Justin Jackson, our guy, and Luke May and Joel Berry, and fun team.
I just remember we used to call Justin Jackson homeschool. Who used to call him homeschool? Somebody came up with that name. I can't remember who it was. It was somebody like a national media member. Was
But
it
no,
JJ Redick? I think it was JJ Redick called him homeschool.
Did he really?
I think so.
But no, Theo on that team, he's bounced around a few times. He went undrafted and he signed with the Nets. Went from like undrafted guy, then like exhibit 10, I think, to a two-way, then converted and stuck with them just for a bit. Then went to the Knicks, a little bit with the Celtics. Now been in the G League, but he was like this catch. He was this energy catch-all type of guy. Carolina ran kind of secondary ball handler, playmaking type things next to Joel Berry. Justin Jackson on the wing, 6'5". He just always brought the energy. And that's why I was always rooting for him coming out of Carolina, because he was such a fun guy to root for in college. And he's so, his facial expressions, there's like clips of him on the bench in the league. He's going to bring a jolt of energy to this Mavs team that they need.
They desperately need. If you guys don't know, if you haven't listened for a while, Isaac is a UNC fan. He's a big North Carolina Tar Heels fan. So he follows these guys. He's known Theo Pinson for a while. He was literally like genuinely excited when Theo Pinson's name got brought up by Shams. And so that's the report right now that the Mavericks are signing him. The big question, I think, right now among some people is why not Carlik Jones? Carlik Jones is the guard the Mavericks had on their training camp roster, and he really showed a lot of people stuff. I was really surprised actually when they put Ja'Cory McLaughlin as the two-way guy instead of Carlik Jones. Carlik Jones, a little bit smaller, but a guard that can handle a little bit more. He can play make a little bit more than we think Theo Pinson. He can definitely shoot a little bit better, even though this season he has not shot the three ball as well as Theo Pinson in the G League. And so maybe the Mavericks are banking on that three-point shooting from Theo Pinson over the last couple of years. He's been about 39%. From pretty good amount of attempts in the G League over the last 3 years, where in college he was like at 25%. So it's a real improvement in that area of his game so far in the G League in his career. And so I know some people said, well, why not Carlik Jones? He's had some incredible games in the G League. He can attack the basket. We've already seen him with the Mavs. The Mavs need a guy that can create his own basket. I mean, look what Trey Burke is doing. Jalen Brunson's trying to do it all himself. Why not Carlik Jones, Isaac Harris?
Well, I think it's, the two guys you just mentioned, it's Trey and Jalen. I think if you had to, which, I know in this NBA now, nobody's in like really these defined lanes anymore, but Carlik's more the one. He's more of a ball handler type of guy. And I think if you bring Carlik in, then now I know some listeners are like, oh, okay, well, I would play him over Trey Burke. Well, yes, you would play him over Trey Burke, but I don't think this coaching staff is going to play him over Trey Burke right now or Jalen Brunson. But you look at a guy like Theo Pinson, and it's like, what's Theo? Theo's an athletic, energy, defensive type of wing. Well, guess who's not playing right now for the Mavericks? Josh Green and Frank Ntilikina. So that I'm not saying Theo's going to step in and play 35 minutes. I mean, he might not be on the roster in a month, but if you're just looking at type of guys in these type of roles, it's the Josh Green, Frank Ntilikina that they're missing right now, that they're probably looking at and saying, hey, we need another guy on the wing, a 6'5" guy that can just play defense, give us some energy.
And I think with guys like this, especially guys just stepping in, just filling in for, like you said, maybe a month, maybe by January 20th, this person is not on this team, whoever fills this spot, if it's Theo Pinson or Carlik Jones or whoever. They need somebody that's been in the NBA a little bit, right? That's somebody that's been on rosters before, that's played in the NBA. Theo Pinson played a couple of playoff games for the Nets a couple years ago. He has been around the NBA a little bit, knows the system, and he knows one of the Mavericks pretty well. Has the same agent as Josh Green that you pointed out earlier. So there's a connection there. And yeah, I think all that is the reason why not Carlik Jones and why Theo Pinson instead.